Alright guys, so let me explain to you how this is going to work. Okay guys, so this right here is going to be your PCV plate, and it's going to be called your PCV valve, right? So what the PCV does is it controls the crank pressure in your engine. So your engine is just a big vacuum, and a lot of times when it builds up, just like a boost with turbo, it needs to ventilate all of the pressure at a certain amount of PSI. So what it does is, traditionally, if you don't have one of these cash cans, you would have this you would have something that comes from right here, and then it would come all the way to right here to your intake manifold, to the top of the intake manifold. And that would actually go into your intake manifold. So all of that extra blow by and pressure would go back into your system. So that's why a lot of times people suggest to get oil cash cans, because what happens is, instead of going into your intake manifold, because that's essentially what creates carbon buildup, it would go from here all the way to the cash can, filter out all that oil and gunk, and then it would recirculate it back to the engine. So that's what's going to save you from having dirty lifters and dirty valves. So that's that piece, right? German cars and Audis are full of a lot of ventilation systems. So we have another one. Okay, so if you have a regular turbo, you have this thing right here, right? And this right here goes into right here. I'm just not going to, so this goes into right here. Let me just show you where it goes. You see that? That's from the engine head, right? So this right here goes from right here into here, right? And this is the whole, let me see if I just get it in there for the sake of the video. So that goes into there and it goes into there. So that sits there. And then traditionally this part right here will go right over here into the turbo. So this will go into the turbo. I was gonna do a custom ventilation system, so I cut that off. But the normal turbo would sit right here, and it would go into the turbo, as I just shown you before. So what happens a lot is, over time, as you can see even in my turbo, what happens a lot over time, all of that blow by and that pressure, especially if you're tuned, will cause oil to get into the turbo, and your turbo can end up getting a lot of oil, causing compression issues, causing heating issues. And ultimately, it would get into your intake pipe. It also can cause your MAF, which is your mass airflow sensor, to get clogged up and dirty as well, just through over time. And what happens when the MAF gets dirty, it can give you wrong readings, because the MAF is designed, which is a mass airflow sensor, to design how much air is going into your engine so it can match it with gas. So you definitely want that whole channel, including your turbo, to be clean. And that also can even cause, you know, a lot of oil to get into your intercooler. If you ever wonder why some videos and you see people with oil in their intercooler, it's freaking from this. It's literally coming from here. It's coming from the blow by and the extra stuff. So I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and make a quick fix for a lot of guys out there who are trying to preserve their car, preserve their horsepower, keep those numbers high, and save their engine. Because my car has about 120K miles on it, and it's still running strong. And as you can see, I'm doing a big turbo project. For those of you who follow me, if not, make sure you subscribe and watch the progress of that. I got a video coming soon, FYI. So, you know, back to the subject. So what I decided to do is, I'm gonna pull this out. All right, I decided to create, as you can see, Bruce Custom Motors BCM. I know it looks a little grungy. This is actually a prototype. So I decided to go ahead and create this. So I know you're asking yourselves, what is this? So guys, this is pretty much the same thing as this. Only what I did is, so now when you put it into here, instead of routing it to your turbo, which is right here, I actually put this fitting right here. So now what's gonna happen is you're gonna put a fitting right over here, and this fitting is going to put you in a position. Let's say, for example, if I got, of course this is too big, but measured it for a 5/8 TAN braided line like that. So now what's gonna happen is you're gonna be able to put the fitting right on here, and then you're gonna be able to vent it to the atmosphere. You can run it to a catch can, or you can run it wherever you want, so you can avoid the sludge you build up in your turbo and then in your intercooler piping. So this is a design that I created. As you can see, Bruce Custom Motors. This is just a retrofit. I'm gonna be mass producing these as well. I'm gonna give you guys a final outline of what it actually looks like, and it's gonna actually be on this build as we speak. So this is gonna be BCM CV adapter to vent to the atmosphere, or vent to a catch can, or vent to wherever you want to vent it to, whatever floats your boat. But I can definitely say, as long as it's not going into their turbo and their intercooler piping, you're in good business. I appreciate the love and support. Thanks. Make sure you share and subscribe. This is Bruce with Bruce Custom Motors. Peace. I'm out.